Sydney Sweeney is selling her bathwater? And we were like, yes. Yes, we know.
That is not how I said it at all. the way that she's portraying it as if I was like in some type of way excited, and there was no excitement at all. I think that it's a terrible development, though I do think that it will be a successful marketing plan.
Are you okay over there, Brett?
YouTube got signed out again too.
It's just, you gotta give up control.
I think I'm just canceling tomorrow. I think we're just gonna take the day off tomorrow.
I think you need to do what TheWizardLiz would do and just manifest a good episode, and then it'll just work. If you believe in yourself and you manifest 0 technical difficulties, they just won't happen.
It's too late. It's already happened. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the video out with friends, family, loved ones, everybody that you know on YouTube and on Rumble. Yes. The best way that you can help the channel grow is to share out all the content, like the videos, and tell everybody about it. So what are we getting into today?
1 second. Is the crisis meter not working?
It's not. I can't log back in, so it's not going to work.
Oh,
I'm not gonna bother.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just set it off.
Wait a minute.
No, it'll work. It will work manually. Like it will.
Just not on screen.
The screen, yeah.
I'm not even
gonna bother.
Well, I was just hoping the idea of the crisis meter, not the crisis party, not.
You will still
off.
hear the crisis meter when it goes off.
That is.
Oh my goodness! It just signed me out too.
Yep.
What's going on today?
It's whatever.
Sorry, didn't mean
to interrupt. Hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel. So what are we talking about today? So Mary introduced me to somebody named TheWizardLiz, who's going through a cheating scandal on. She's a YouTuber. Her husband was a YouTuber, and the whole thing is telling all the Gen Z women that you just can't trust men these days. So we're going to talk about that.
We're radicalizing them into misandry levels we've never seen before. We also have a 20. From Weary Traveler just saying, Phil.
Weary Traveler, what's up? Are you alluding to something?
I don't know.
He's talking about the USS Liberty. That's what he's talking about. So we're going to talk about that. Also, Sydney Sweeney is back in the news. Do you remember Belle Delphine by any stretch of the imagination? She sold Bathwater. Well, I have hereby deemed...
That's not all she sold.
I have hereby deemed this bathtub capitalism, and it is now being undertaken by Sydney Sweeney as well, who is going to sell you her bathwater.
Well, hold on a second. That's not quite the case.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, they'll have to stay tuned if they want to know the rest.
We're not sure. Okay, there's a cliffhanger in there, but I don't know if I ever mentioned this. Belle Delphine, before she got banned on Instagram, she followed me on Instagram. I thought that was super interesting that she just like came across my page and saw me like talking shit about OnlyFans women and was just like, I'm for this.
Maybe
I'm gonna support this woman.
Maybe she saw you on like whatever.
Yeah, but then it's like, you have an OnlyFans, so wouldn't you disagree with everything I'm saying?
Look. Maybe she just really likes to have her opinions challenged. Maybe that's what it is. She's very intellectually rigorous.
Maybe. Yeah.
I would like to believe that to be true. So we've got that. Also, there's a new study that's come out saying that apparently the happiest members of Gen Z have turned towards family and religion. And we'll talk about that because if you ever want to win an argument, the number one thing you can do is cite studies because that's how you prove yourself right all the time. Just say a study shows and everybody will believe you.
Well, this time there's actually no study. There are only 4 examples of happy members of Gen Z in this example, but... the studies do show some reasons for hope. Maybe Gen Z isn't completely
Isn't
doomed.
Gen Z a more satisfied and happy generation than millennials?
Than millennials?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think so.
No, that's a shame. I was under the impression that millennials were all neurotic and insane, and that Gen Z kind of decided that they didn't want to be like millennials.
If I had to guess, you can probably see less self-reported happiness in each progressing generation still. Maybe that'll change, though.
We will talk about that. Also, we're going to make fun of MGK.
Yeah, he just put out a song, and it's called Cliche, and that's because it's cliche, and it's, like, ironic, man. And, I just think that this guy needs to... grow the hell up. I think he needs to act his age.
I imagine that maybe...
Take care of your baby. What's wrong with you?
Maybe Phil and Mary have different reasons for clowning on him. Mary says he should grow up. Maybe Phil just hates the song.
I definitely hate the song. Definitely hate the look. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we can just go ahead. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Mary?
Let's go.
Phil? Good? All right. Let's get started.
Sydney Sweeney made a splash when she did her first sponsorship with Dr. Squatch. And now she has taken it to a whole new level in a similar fashion to OnlyFans star Belle Delphine. They are promising to sell Sydney Sweeney's bathwater to a bunch of simps. And certainly, no doubt about that, there is a demand for a product like this. But there is a catch. And it's that they're not actually selling her bathwater. It's allegedly a bar of soap infused with Sydney's bathwater. I don't really know what to make of it, though. There are mixed signals here about whether they're actually including it as an ingredient or if it's just a marketing scheme. But Sydney is all about being in on the joke, and she did an exclusive interview with GQ about the product launch. They say the internet is incapable of being normal about Sydney Sweeney.
So we're just going to feed that monster,
yes.
right? Just shove exactly what the internet wants right down its throat.
As a hyper-visible public figure, Sweeney has said that she's come to terms with being unable to control her image and comments about her appearance, particularly among her predominantly male fan base. But Sweeney hasn't eschewed the internet completely. Instead, she's trying a different tack, being in on the joke, perhaps in a way that comes with a paycheck. Hence the new brand deal that she has with Dr. Squatch. So they are making 5,000 soap bars of Sydney's bathwater bliss.
Where did they get the bathwater, Mary?
So she tried to give an explanation for how they infused the bathwater in this interview, and I just don't believe it. She said, when we were at the photo shoot, they had a tub for me. I got in there and I took some soap and we had a nice little bath and they took the water. So it's my real bath water. I wanted to have it lean towards my home roots. So there's a really outdoorsy scent of like pine and earthy moss and fir. So it smells super manly, but then there's some city bath water mixed in. And then when you go to the product page and you look at the actual list of ingredients online, it says sand, pine bar extract powder, Sydney's bathwater. Underneath Sydney's bathwater, it says narrative element. So that doesn't sound like they actually infused bathwater into anything, and it's just a marketing plot.
So narrative element means we just made it up. Can you just get away with everything as long as you say made it up?
I don't know, but then in the interview, she's saying the opposite. So I don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, I mean, what does narrative element mean? Like, maybe somebody can clarify if you work in marketing. Like, were they required? But did the FDA require you to put narrative element because they wouldn't actually let you sell someone their bathwater?
Sounds illegal.
I bet it's probably a bad idea to clarify what narrative element is, because then people will be like, oh, it doesn't have Sydney's bathwater in it. I don't want it.
And do I really buy that the FDA cares? I mean, just yesterday they said that Skittles are taking the titanium dioxide out of Skittles, and then everyone's like, why was there titanium dioxide in Skittles to begin with? Apparently,
what even is titanium dioxide?
Apparently it's the coloring for the letter on the Skittle.
Oh, the S?
The S.
Okay.
I was like, you couldn't use like some type of food coloring or literally anything other than something that isn't called titanium dioxide.
So there's not going to be an S on Skittles anymore.
Maybe they'll just
going to be blank.
No, they're gonna use beef tallow to put it on the S. No? Something that RFK would love.
They asked Sydney, are you surprised by this interesting request for bathwater? And did you have a feeling this might happen? She said, I honestly think it's a really fun, full circle moment because fans always joke about wanting my bathwater. I was like, this is such a cool way to have a conversation with the audience and give them what they want, but then also hopefully encourage them to take care of themselves in a healthy way. Because, you know, none of my fans shower.
They don't shower, they don't bathe. And
just the phrase, take care of themselves. There's so much implied.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they credited Saltburn with the popularization of fetishized bathwater. I would say Belle Delphine is the reason for that, but they didn't name her in this interview.
Stolen valor.
Yeah, and then they asked her, you've spoken in the past about how challenging it's been to navigate Hollywood as someone who grew up working class and how taking brand deals has been a necessity for you to make ends meet. Has your philosophy around what deals you take changed at all?
I like how they phrase taking brand deals like getting like a job at McDonald's, like having to make ends meet with brand deals.
Having to pay my mortgage on my mansion in Calabasas to make ends meet.
I had to hawk bathwater soap, like slutty bathwater soap, just to make ends meet and get by.
Well, she says, I make sure that every brand I become a part of, I organically and authentically use. It's super important to me to make sure that whenever I'm saying, hey, I really love this product or I really use this, I actually am. I'm a consumer just like everyone else. If it doesn't actually work for the person and they're just saying it, it doesn't benefit any of us. So she claims she actually uses her own bathwater soap.
Do you think making it medium grit?
Medium grit. That's another detail they listed on the product page.
The soap is medium grit.
Is there something weird about like using your own bathwater soap?
Seems like you're
like reintroducing chemicals of yourself onto yourself. It just doesn't seem right.
It also says it smells like morning wood. A perfect combination of the two best places on the planet, the outdoors and Sydney Sweeney's bathtub. Experience the ultimate blend of outdoor serenity and refreshing notes of pine, Douglas fir, earthy moss, and a touch of Sydney's very own bathwater. They're also doing a giveaway of the limited supply of the Bathwater Bliss. In collaboration with Sydney Sweeney, we created a limited edition soap infused with her actual bathwater. Why? Because y'all wouldn't stop asking, and Sydney said, let's do it. What a legend. So you have to enter this sweepstakes. Every man who buys or wins a bar of this soap is automatically undateable for life.
Also should go onto the sex offender list.
Yes. And you know what? We have a 20 from Stone Sting. Literally just got this text. Dr. Squatch entered to win a brick made with Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. Yes, you read that right. No, we're not joking. Link redacted.
Who sent that?
From Stone Sting. They're sending out mass emails and text messages to their customers now.
There is a chat on Rumble that says Dr. Squatch just texted me Sydney Sweeney soap.
They're really hawking this stuff.
You know.
I think that this is a step below what she did for Dr. Squatch in the first place. Because before it was just her selling deodorant, whatever. That's fine. To do a brand deal, I'm sure that's like, I think a lot of the response to that at the time was saying like, this is below her dignity as an artist, right? But now I feel like she's taken it too far.
It's funny because like in skating, you can have pro versions of products. Skateboarders have pro boards. There are pro wheels. Skaters have pro
bathwater soap.
So she has pro soap. She's just got a pro model soap, and that's what it is.
I just think this cheapens her image and her brand.
Maybe a little bit. I am kind of hilariously thinking about a guy who like meets a girl online and he takes her home and he remembers to hide the porn, but damn it, she caught me with my Sydney's
bathwater bliss in the bathroom.
And she's like, I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm just saying, ladies, you better see what it looks like inside the packaging so you're able to spot it based on the soap design. If you are in a guy's bathroom, you have to clock this immediately and get out of that situation.
Yeah, I don't know who would go out and first of all, I don't know if I would ever buy soap or shampoo like online because I want to be able to like I buy the same one anyways, but I wouldn't try something new without knowing what it smells like.
Yeah, I'm assuming you wouldn't be a customer for Sydney's bathwater soap. I would hope not. I just think everyone loses in this situation because she's cheapening her brand. Because she's kind of lowering herself to the level of like OnlyFans models like Belle Delphine. And then all the guys who are gonna buy this are all automatically undateable, unmarriageable forever.
So what product should she hawk then if she's not selling this?
I mean, I'm sure she has plenty of brands knocking down her door to promote this makeup, promote this shampoo. this, you know, she could do literally anything. She has so many offers. Why this?
Look, she should just do whichever one is going to pay her the most money.
I mean, that was likely
I'm sure
this
they
one
are.
that was going to pay her the most money.
This one?
This one
Look,
paid her a lot of money.
I've had a problem with Dr. Squatch for a long time.
Wait, why?
Only because I hate their marketing. Until the Sydney Sweeney stuff, that's the only thing that has ever made me laugh. All of their marketing I have hated with a burning passion.
Why?
For no
just rubs you
discernible
the wrong way.
reason. I was just like, I don't like that. And then partially I think was because for a while it was so ubiquitous on YouTube. They were spending a lot of money and putting it on almost everything that I watched. It seemed a Dr. Squatch
They just annoy you because you were getting ads for it on everything.
It was super annoying all the time. And I was just like, these aren't funny. This is annoying. And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, I will never buy your product. And I'm definitely not going to buy Sydney Sweeney's bar soap. But I do think that at least this is the most entertaining thing that they've done for marketing.
They also had a brand deal with Nick Cannon for ball care products, playing on the fact that he has like a dozen children that he's not involved with.
Lots of podcasts in this space end up having deals with like Manscaped.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really specific to any one individual person and playing on their individual story or personal life or brand.
She, in a lot of ways, she became the face of like acceptable sexuality on the right, where people would talk about, we are so back, and it would be whatever random account on X has a gazillion followers, and it would be posting clips of her, and she kind of became this pushback against the puritanism of the left now. So this is just what happens when it keeps going.
Yeah, they made her this avatar of the so-called right-wing hot girl, or they said that she was the harbinger of the death of woke. The cultural vibe shift is culturally vibe shifting.
Talk about putting too much on one thing. Just like yesterday with Demi Lovato choosing to not be fat and get married. And then they're talking about how this is indicative of everything changing.
You
like, no,
take
she
the
just got
wins
sick.
when you can get them.
It's not a win, though. It's a person got not fat and got married. That doesn't mean she agrees with you on anything.
No, well, at the very least, she agrees that being fat is worse than being fat.
They all agreed that. Then Ozempic got created, and they don't.
I don't think that they agreed at all. I think there were people that really believed, no, big is beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. There are people that think that being pretty is hierarchical, because it is, and so being pretty is a net bad thing. And this is something that we've talked about on this show. Bring back aspirational looking people that look like they're in shape. Put those people back into advertisements. It was bad when Calvin Klein put those two blobs, genderless masses. That was a bad thing, and that was kind of like the apex of terrible woke advertising. And so now that there are celebrities that are doing things like losing weight, exercising and stuff, I think that's a white pill. It's a good thing.
Captain K says, how dare women get healthy and married? No, my point was that conservatives are imprinting on it as if it means something more for them when it doesn't mean anything for them at all. It just means that people who were once fat and ugly decided they didn't want to be fat and ugly anymore. That's a good thing, but it doesn't mean anything for you, I, or whatever your ideology is.
We read some of those comments. One of them claimed that Demi Lovato repented of her past sins and converted to Christianity, which is completely fake. And then another one claimed that she made these changes to her appearance and her lifestyle because of Trump getting reelected, which is also completely nonsensical.
The funnier thing about this will be in 15 to 20 years when she goes on her book tour to talk about how she was sexualized in Hollywood. And what a bad thing it was.
Sydney or Demi?
Sydney. And she has to talk about, my manager talked me into selling my bathwater to Dr. Squatch.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, the only props I can give her for this is that she expertly sidestepped the intellectual questions they asked her in this interview.
Good for her.
One of them was, do you see the concept of selling your bathwater as wrestling back power for yourself in terms of your image? And then she said something that was so bizarre to sidestep it. Yeah, of course. It's funny, and there's a lot of different plays that are in motion at that time. My hope is that it just gets guys to think about taking care of themselves and cleaning themselves with healthy products.
Just mommy dom issues right there.
And then they said, I mean, I have been in some pretty disgusting dude bathrooms before. And she said, exactly. So I guess that this is to encourage simps to finally bathe. They do have a problem with that. So, you know, maybe that's the one.
Is there a correlation with simping and not bathing?
I mean, having zero self-respect probably means you're not taking care of your basic hygiene. Yeah. And the simps do not have any self-respect.
Okay. All right. What would you guys like? Phil wants to see cringe first.
Absolutely.
We already know.
Okay. All right.
Cringe
We will
first.
do cringe first.
That way the cute is a palate cleanser.
All right. Here we go. Mary, how bad is this one? You said it's longer. Is it worse than normal?
I wouldn't say worse than normal, but it's a slog to get through.
It's a widescreen video on Instagram. That alone is weird.
Yeah.
Hold on.
This is from some church. I don't know. This is a female pastor.
Reverend Doctor.
PhD.
Yeah, she asked me if
we need to take doctor away from people with PhDs. They should only be for medical doctors.
Wait, remember, like, he asked me if I was Miss or Mrs., and I said, what was it, MD or, or doctor?
Well, what about, like, scientists? What if you're, like, a physicist?
Those are PhDs as well. Granted,
no
they're
doctor.
far more respectable than people that have a PhD in sociology.
So just
I would. Yeah, you know, if you went to the humanities and you got a PhD somewhere there, you should not be allowed to call yourself doctor. But people that are physicists, they're not calling themselves doctor generally.
Yeah, it's funnier if you let them do it, but every time that they say doctor, you go doctor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hold please. Hold please. All right.
Yes, it should only be medical doctors. Anyone else, I don't think should use it. And people that are serious, in serious disciplines, they tend not to. It's the people that are in unserious disciplines that tend to want to be called doctors. Yeah. Even doctors are like, just
Mr. Jordan B. Peterson.
All right, here we go.
You have found yourselves at Irvine United Congregational Church on a spooky Sunday.
Oh, really?
So welcome to all our ghouls and boys and non-binary souls as we
ghouls and boys.
Yeah, you're all monsters. You're all goblins.
Celebrate this day. We are
this guy in the orange shirt just looks like he wants to die.
a proud, open, and affirming just peace, global missions, creation, justice, progressive Christian congregation of the United Church of Christ. And here we seek to be a generational, multicultural community who seeks to follow Jesus while we have fun and celebrate joy, even as we seek justice together, listening to the call of the prophets, by working as a community to face the scary world out there, by bringing joy to sadness and to places of fear and injustice. Good morning.
Someone said that is a fake church. You are correct. That is a fake church. That sentence just never ended, did it?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I thought, so fair enough. That was
awful.
Again, if somebody asked me how
that was Episcopalian, I'd be willing to bet anything.
If somebody asked me, like if you can't define woke, then what is it? Or like, this is just, you heard that and all I heard was communist nonsense.
One of my favorite, like, Christian or, like, Catholic memes is, like, St. Paul has this special lipstick he recommends to female pastors, and it's just Gorilla Glue.
That's actually pretty good.
That was rough.
Good stuff.
All right, let's do cute of the day. We have a palate cleanser here. This one is from...
It's cats.
Well, no, this is a sad one. So this was from Dreamcast Night. See, I was gonna save this one, but it happened recently, so I thought I would share this one. This was Milo Diddy, a friendly cat who went May 25th. You'll be missed, buddy.
That's Milo Diddy?
Milo Diddy.
Sorry to hear that. Why is Milo such a popular cat name? I've heard
that is true.
Many people.
We've definitely had a Milo on Cute of the Day at least once before. Yeah, I don't know.
Wilder.
Max is also a very popular pet name.
We have
Always
a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. Women can't be reverends. Also, the cringe has got too much going on. There's an alien in the back. The reverend is Marge Simpson-looking MFer. Crap. She opened her mouth. I might need to go to confession now.
Actually, when I saw her, the first thing I thought of was the girl from the Wonka event. The sad Wonka event. The Oompa Loompa.
No, that we won't disrespect the Oompa Loompa like that.
No, that lady was great. That lady was great. Okay. All right. Now that all of that is out of the system, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. TheWizardLiz is a YouTuber with 8 million subscribers, and I had never heard of her until yesterday when a cheating scandal broke out between herself and her husband, Landon. So she is 4 months pregnant with their child. They were recently married, and she just discovered that he cheated on her with a fake Snapchat account attempting to sleep with a random woman from the internet. And her mostly Gen Z female audience has watched all of this play out, and they're on the edge of their seats for every upcoming update. And I think that this, if it wasn't already like the nail in the coffin for Gen Z romance, this is the story that has convinced so many of her fans that true love is impossible and that you can never trust any man under any circumstances, because she portrayed this relationship as so idealistic. It was exactly the person that she had been looking for and waiting for her entire life, and she was so happy, and they were starting their family together. And just 5 days ago, as we're recording this, they had posted a Q&A video, and it was Q&A with my husband. One of the things that her husband Landon said in that video is that there is a toxic message spreading to women these days, that they can never trust a man, and that trust is the foundation of any working relationship. I would like to play that clip.
First one here.
We also have a 20 from Weary Traveler. Churches like that are why the events of Lords of Chaos happened.
This one here?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Honestly, a toxic message, this thing I've seen people saying of like, oh, you can never trust a man, like never trust your husband, like he may just cheat on you, you never know. It's like, at the end of the day, the man and the woman have to be trusting each other and taking that. That is what builds a good relationship.
Yeah,
it is a
course.
foundation of trust. Honestly,
Okay.
So here this guy is, this scumbag, preaching to millions of people on the internet about how trust is the foundation of a relationship. And meanwhile, he knowingly was cheating on his spouse.
I'm picturing like his phone going off and dinging as he does this.
It's so sad. One thing you should know about TheWizardLiz, though, is that she has a majority female audience because she gives them life advice. That is everything her content revolves around. If you look at her channel, you see her videos are saying how to become successful, how to become rich, how to make yourself more beautiful, how to attract the right partner, how to be confident, how to defeat self-doubt. These are all the subjects of her videos, and that's what has rocketed her to such popularity. And her secret for all of this success she has had is manifesting. And I watched her video last night about how she ended up getting engaged to her current husband. She said she had just ended a relationship and responded by manifesting her husband. She wrote down in a journal, or a manifestation journal, everything that she wanted in a future spouse. And she believed that she would get it. And that's the whole point of manifesting, is you're visualizing and manifesting the life and relationship you want. And if you let the universe work through you, as she put it, it will happen.
What does that mean?
I couldn't tell you. But she kind of conflates a lot of these ideas of manifesting and self-belief and prayer. And she conflates both God and the universe as the same thing in her worldview. I think she's a very confused person who deluded herself and probably ignored a lot of red flags and a lot of signs that she was with someone who was untrustworthy because of this worldview she has, where nothing is a coincidence, and everything that happens to you, every person you meet, it's because the universe intended it that way. And as long as you are going with the grain of what the universe has planned for you, everything will work out. And he knew this about her going into the relationship because she's very public about these views she has. So in the story of how they met, she says that she had ended her previous relationship and she was going with a friend to a vacation in Santorini. They were at a layover in an airport in Athens. And because she's an influencer, I assume she had probably posted something on her story about traveling to Greece. Mm-hmm. My theory is that this guy followed her there. And I couldn't tell you there's any actual evidence of that, but it sounds like he was stalking her, Hailey Bieber style, because they just had a random chance encounter at this airport where he was like, Liz?
Where is he from?
He's from Texas.
So your theory is that he flew from Texas to Greece
in hopes of
like getting a bump into her.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, hey.
They had been mutuals for several years before then on Instagram, and he probably saw her posting about traveling there and went there to chase after her. And she's the type of person where if something seems like a coincidence, she'll write that off and she'll believe, no, it's the universe.
Okay.
I'm working with the intentions and the power and the energy of the universe.
Okay.
So she says the moment they met, it was like everything clicked. And I just knew this was my husband. And they immediately started talking about marriage and kids with zero delay.
I feel bad for her because she was clearly manipulated by a con man.
Before she met him, or that he's the con man? Well, yeah, but also she must have had warning signs. And I said this, and one of her fans said that I'm blaming her for what happened. That's some bullshit.
Well,
I don't
said
think
that to
that
you?
she, yeah,
Look,
I don't
her
think that
fans-
she deserved this at all. I just think there are clearly ways that you can avoid this if you build a relationship by actually assessing who this person is and not believing that they were some magical gift to you from the universe, the all-knowing universe. Because if you believe that, you're just going to look over every warning sign.
Yeah. The flight part, I guess I have a hard time believing. That's a big if to me, to believe that he flew all the way to Greece in the hope encounter that he catches her on her layover. Now, knowing her, profiling her, and saying exactly what she wants to hear, sure, I guess I buy that 100%. But I don't know if I buy that he just flew to Greece just in hopes of running into her. Maybe he did.
His claim, the story he told her is, oh, I just happened to be in Greece right now because I was planning to go on a trip with my friends to Mykonos and they scammed me, whatever that means. My theory is that he either was hoping to run into her at the airport or he was hoping to just message her and say, oh, look, you're in Greece. I'm in Greece. We should hang out. That's also more likely.
Okay, so you said that at that time that they were mutuals. Does that mean that he followed her or that they followed each other?
I believe the way she put it is that they had followed each other on Instagram for a while because he was also a YouTuber.
Okay, so he wasn't a nobody. He was somebody of status who she also followed. So it's not exactly the same thing.
What did he do beforehand?
He was a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber as well. He has like 2 million or 3 million subscribers as well. So it's not exactly the same thing as just a random dude, right?
No, yeah, they recognized each other, but they had never met in real life before that moment.
To me, this story just comes down to two people of social status, one of which lied a lot and made this woman's life kind of a lie as well. But I don't know if I buy the whole he orchestrated this all in hopes of this. I mean,
that's just my personal theory.
It is true that you said that he had made comments before that he's like, I wanted to meet a woman like you. It just, to me, it's far-fetched to imagine that he flew to Greece for the the off chance that she has a 4-hour layover and he's going to catch her on that layover as well.
I know Gen Z throws around the term love bombing a lot, but from the way she put it, and she was telling the story like it's beautiful and aspirational, it sounded like he was doing exactly that. He was saying, you know, you've always been my dream girl. I knew you were my wife the moment that we met eyes. In all of my other relationships before you, I was just thinking, I wish I could meet someone just like Liz, you know? We have a 20 from Carl Walker. Phil, AR or AK? Also, what is your favorite historical firearm?
AR, and I mean, I would probably go with an AR. Because
what do you mean by historical firearm? Are you talking about flintlocks?
Do you have one?
I do not have a flintlock. No.
A favorite historical?
I mean, like my favorite firearm is like, I like ARs. They're functional and they get the job done. And nowadays there's, you know, every kind of attachment you can possibly imagine to make it more comfortable for whatever your application. So it's an AR.
So this was what TheWizardLiz posted to her followers. Landon decided to make a Snapchat account and reach out to a girl to meet up. He was just with me, made a whole book about how much he loves me. That's true. He wrote a book about them. And the girl reached out to her and showed evidence. He called the relationship fake. Meanwhile, my cats are with him in Dallas. All my stuff is there in our apartment. And oh, I'm 4 months pregnant. He says he's incredibly sorry, but honestly, I feel like I didn't know him at all. I feel stupid for ignoring the signs and the dreams I had that I even told him about, and he told me I was crazy. Listen to your intuition. Men want to lead the world but can't even control their lust. A man that can't control his lust will never be able to lead. I'm absolutely heartbroken and shocked. My haters can go celebrate this. Haha, so funny. He lost everything and I gained everything. Thank God. That's a cope.
The thank God part?
That you win in the end? Yeah, that's a cope. You made a stupid decision, a series of very stupid decisions because you have this, basically a worldview of witchcraft. I mean, she is promoting manifestation to her followers, which I believe is a form of witchcraft and divination. And it's a belief that you can basically control the universe and manipulate the universe to your favor. It's not true. It's something that she's promoting to millions of her female followers, and now they've seen this all play out, and they have completely lost hope for romance going forward. One said, what Landon did to TheWizardLiz is literally a horror story. Such a calculated move to rush the marriage, not even have a ceremony, get her pregnant within 6 months of marriage, then cheat on her after she's a good 4 months into the pregnancy.
That's awful.
And another one said, never trust a man. This is so disappointing and disgusting.
I mean, this is what happens anytime a story comes out like this, going either way to either gender.
Yeah.
Some horrid example is given, and then everybody uses that as their form of confirmation bias to tell them what they already believed themselves and didn't need any help being led to. They already hated men. When this happens to men, they already hated women.
Yeah.
There is no fixing that. You weren't designed to take in every horror story of every relationship that's ever existed. You're barely equipped to handle it when it's your friends.
Yep.
We should also show his little apology video that he ended up deleting after this.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I am acknowledging is wrong, and it's not. It was 5-10 minutes of my life texting somebody that I don't give a fuck about, jeopardizing everything that I have. Like, it's just ridiculous. So
is his claim supposed to be that he wasn't going to meet up with her?
I don't know. He's not fully taking responsibility.
Yeah, I deserve the hate, and there's not a single person on this fucking planet that is more disappointed or upset. So I don't expect you guys to understand, but I hope you take into consideration that you can make a mistake and get better. And this isn't just a mistake, right? Like, this is breaking trust, but I realized what I did was wrong. And it's never going to happen again. Doesn't mean it's okay, but...
It's never going to happen again because she's
I am
leaving
acknowledging is wrong.
as she should.
Yeah.
Ideally, that none of this would have ever happened in the first place, and they didn't have to, you know, entangle their lives so quickly, and that was another mistake on her part. But I think that her female fans are just taking away all the wrong conclusions from this. Namely, you know, you can never trust a man. You can never believe that a man is capable of being faithful to you. They're all scum. You know, that's what they're coming away with this from this story. And what they should learn is from the bad example of this woman that they idolized. They should learn that she deluded herself, that all of the advice she gave to other women was false. Even if she was lying to herself in the process, she was also lying to all of her fans too. And they should not subscribe to this magical ideology of manifestation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That is what got her into this mess, and I think that people aren't really acknowledging that.
I mean, partially that, partially just not vetting who you're gonna spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah, but she didn't vet the guy because of her insane worldview.
Yep.
And I think maybe this could be a wake-up call for both her and her following, that you can't just blindly follow and believe what these motivational gurus are selling you online. It's not even working for themselves. It's actually ruining their own lives irreversibly. So
Yeah, but they're making a lot of money off it, so they'll never admit it.
exactly. A lot of them are doing it knowingly. I think she had probably okay intentions, but this should be a wake-up call. Just don't believe the nonsense from these spiritual gurus, because they're all bullshitters.
All right, let's go to do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil, and happy ascension to those in diocese that didn't move it to Sunday. Sorry for turning you into Eminem and having you sing My Name Is Brett, Mea Culpa." Do you see this?
I haven't watched it yet.
I don't think
I'll
he's
get to
actually sorry either, though.
Yeah.
Happy ascension. I went to the vigil mass last night. Yurishima Otaru said, "There is likely zero bathwater after the soap making." What?
Does the soap like remove all the water? I have no idea.
Well, they had this promotional video where they have this tiny glass vial and they like harvested the bath water, and I guess used like a dropper to put it into the formula. I don't know.
I feel like you could use, if all they're making is 5,000 of them, they could use more than a dropper's worth.
I mean, I think it's fake, but it's also illegal, right? Like, that seems illegal.
Why?
Because you're selling people biological waste.
I guess, like I said, there was titanium dioxide in Skittles, so I don't know.
Yeah, we just can't trust anything anymore. Shane H. Wilder said, "YouTube be wildin' like a mother."
Yeah, well, it's if you were talking about like the tech difficulties here, that's not YouTube that's going on. That's the login for the automation for the super chats.
We are at one party
Yes, we
today. Weary Traveler said, "Zoomers are miserable because millennials stay winning." Do the millennials stay winning?
Like,
Do they?
Like, define. I'm going to sound like a lawyer right now. You have to redefine winning. Like, what does that mean here? Like, what are you looking to get out of this? What do you mean by winning? How are the millennials winning?
I'm trying to think of like one way that the millennials are winning. Like, what is going well for the millennial generation? Were they like the last generation to get fake laptop jobs that way overpaid them? Probably. That's a win.
Yeah. Jealous of those guys. I always want to know what that guy at the airport's doing on that spreadsheet. Is it really that important?
I don't think it's that important.
That's what I mean. He's filling out a form of some sort. There's numbers being inserted into columns. Those columns have to mean something.
Don't they?
Don't they?
Maybe.
Brian Bledsoe.
Like, if he just didn't do his job, would nobody notice? Like, if he just didn't turn in those TPS reports, would nobody care?
There are like forums dedicated to this, where like people are complaining about having fake laptop jobs and how depressing it is. Like, count your blessings, dude.
I was also reading this article that said millennials and Gen Z are sneaking their spouses or significant others with them on work trips and not telling their boss.
Ruh-roh.
So, like, boss sends you to, I don't know, Arkansas for a meeting or for some type of conference, and I guess they're bringing their significant other with them. I'm like, as long as the boss isn't paying.
Yeah, why is that a problem?
Yeah, this is weird, but
I mean, I guess if you're comping the travel and everything,
that's a problem.
But then the business is comping the hotel.
Yeah,
their spouse is in the hotel, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. You would have spent that money anyway.
That's what they get for having fake laptop jobs.
Yeah. Brian Bledsoe said, Phil, the left lane is for crime, but lounging in the middle lane is grounds for disdain, especially for a trucker when we can't go in the left lane.
Wait,
well, I mean,
what do they mean by lounging?
What's the middle lane for?
Traveling.
Yeah, that's what I use it for. I didn't know that was a problem.
No, it's well, he's saying he's a trucker and we can't go in the left lane, and the every single highway I've ever been on, truckers ignore that.
Oh yeah,
constantly,
for sure.
Because they tend to be the one in the left lane that's causing the problems. Not all the time, but very frequently. So I do think that you're just going to have to deal with the fact that sometimes when there's 3 lanes and there's someone in the middle lane going not as fast as you'd like, that's a you problem.
There's some life advice from Phil.
I've got a Rumble rant here from Deep South EDC who says having an AR is like having gun Legos. I love them.
Yes, it is, because not only are they simple to put together, they have basically there's all kinds of modifications and different adapters that help you do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to shoot long distance, you can get an upper that has a longer barrel. If you want something for inside the house, you can get one with a shorter barrel. You know, all kinds of different things you can do.
Okay, just do 2 more.
JTR11 said, is this soap Maha approved?
I mean, if the idea here is that there's a bunch of people that are America First that are also shower last, then I guess this would be Maha approved.
Well, one of the Maha takes is that you actually aren't supposed to bathe. Yeah, because it strips your skin of the natural oils, so they think that it's bad to take a shower. They at least say it's bad to take a shower every day. That's one of their health Twitter takes.
That sounds like something coming from a person who lives a life of such privilege that they don't ever actually get dirty doing anything.
Thank you. Well,
I'm not like you know what I'm gonna do? You know, never mind. Never mind.
What?
What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go skating. I'm gonna skate all day or skate right after work. And after I get done skating, I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna tell Olivia, I'm sorry, I can't. What? Why?
RFK told me not to shower.
If that means that we have to wash the sheets every morning because the bed gets disgusting, then I guess so be it.
Well, you're not supposed to wash anything either because of the chemicals in the detergents, right? So that's also a no. You just have to live in filth.
Texting Olivia now. Sorry, can't shower. RFK said so.
RFK never said that himself, but I can attest that crunchy Twitter has hot takes of the sort, that you are not supposed to bathe on a daily or even weekly basis, among other insane points of advice. Shane H. Wilder said, taking a bath is like being a turkey in a brine of your own filth. Why would I want to shower with something infused with someone else's filth? You make such a logical point. I just don't think that the simps are thinking when they make this purchase. It's just Sydney Bathwater good.
Well, I don't think they're thinking when they buy the pictures from the OnlyFans girls, when there's all sorts of free porn on the internet already that doesn't cost anything.
Thinking is just something simps don't do.
Let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back. Let's give this white pill for Gen Z.
Yeah. There are a lot of black pill doomerist headlines about Gen Z, especially from the New York Post. But this one, in this headline, they changed their tune, saying Gen Zers who are actually happy are saying yes to religion and family and no to social media. They said, according to the 2025 World Happiness Report, that sounds absolutely fake, but it says Americans ages 18 to 29 ranked 62nd amongst the 140 countries surveyed in terms of self-reported well-being and life satisfaction, far below all U.S. adults who ranked 24th in the same report. So Gen Z isn't just 18 to 29, but that catches the most of them. A small segment of young Americans are bucking the trend and finding happiness. The Post spoke with several. So they interviewed just a handful of self-reported happy Zoomers and what changes they have implemented in their lifestyles to ensure that they don't end up depressed and directionless like the rest of their generation.
It's got to be getting off the phone, right? I imagine that religion has even less to do with it than just not being on the dreaded, awful phone all the time.
It's more about what you don't do to buck the depression trend than what you do.
What everybody in these spaces does, and it's extremely relevant to the conservative media space because it tends to be mostly politics, where the lie is kind of you have to pay attention to all of this all the time lest you don't have all the information and your life is destroyed. And that can be true a lot of the time, but I would argue that a lot of people don't use it as an effective means of helping govern their life, but it's more a team sport mentality that people go into watching and listening about politics as a form of entertainment, which is, you know, making their lives a little bit more depressed one day at a time. Not for everyone. I'm not saying that it's inherently going to happen to everybody, but a lot of times if you're not motivated to actually use the information that you're listening to for a form of active change in your life, you're kind of becoming a form of learned helplessness, and you're reinforcing it every time you watch something that tells you something bad. And that's not just true with conservatives. That's true, obviously, with both sides of the aisle. But as people spend more and more time on their phone, as more and more of your life is consumed by stories about people on the internet, less of it is living in the real world, which means it's being removed from your control. And the only way to break that cycle is to just get off your phone and get away from the internet. You might be a little bit less informed on some stuff, but what does that really matter if you're 100 times happier, I guess? Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that you're coming at this from your own relationship with social media. And interestingly, the negative effect that Zoomers have from social media is about comparison with either influencers or people they know, not from being inundated with negative stories or news information. It's more about a spirit of comparison that's encouraged on certain platforms, especially Instagram. And I just wanted to mention, they said the average Zoomer spends 3/4 of their day consuming content. When I clicked the hyperlink, I found it was the opposite. They say Gen Z actually spends 1/4 of their day consuming content. So that means they spend 3/4 of their day not consuming content. Spending 1/4 of your day consuming content, that's still a lot, but it's not what they said in the article. They interviewed one 28-year-old from southern Florida named Kevin Alexander who said, social media in and of itself is a very negative and toxic place. I don't use it that much. Alexander has suffered from cerebral palsy since birth and uses crutches for mobility. His disability taught him that comparison is the thief of joy early on, so he has always avoided social media, which he believes has been key to his self-described happiness. Quote, I happen to be disabled, so I tend to look more for positive things because I've certainly dealt with a host of negativity in my life through operations, through stigma, a lot of things. And he credits his intellectual pursuits as well for his positive outlook. Quote, I read a lot and I try to stay inside my own head more than listen to the external noise. I'm in my books and in my writing so that I can get lost in that world for several hours of the day at a time. And then a 20-year-old student studying business at Georgia Tech named Ben Feinblum said he believes social media is bringing his generation down and credits his positive outlook to restricting his use of it. And he had advice for enforcing this in your own friend group. He says that his Zoomer friend group actually, they shame each other for grabbing their phone when they're out doing stuff in real life. And I agree with that completely. He said social media makes people feel very comfortable being alone. And even when they're hanging out with people, they're on their phones, texting people that aren't even there. He turns off notifications on apps such as Instagram that aren't essential, and he and his friends have created rituals to stay in the moment while hanging out. My friends will be very conscious of who's on their phone and call them out. We stack up our phones on the table, and whoever picks theirs up first is the one who has to pay the tip for dinner.
That's good. I mean, and let me make it perfectly clear. I'm absolutely 100% one of those people, so it's not necessarily hypocritical to know that you've got a problem in this type of situation.
Sure.
I should be on my phone less. I absolutely should. Olivia likes to make the pointed statement, how's the internet doing? And that's like my trigger to come back and put the phone down, because I do get caught up in it too often. Though that the issue for me isn't usually about comparison to other people, but more about just consuming news.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you would be drawn to pick up the phone if you're in a group of people?
I mean, I think it's either. I think I probably have just as strong an urge to pick up my phone when I'm alone as I do when I'm in a group of people.
Well, we do say that we need to bring public shaming back, and this culture needs more shame. And I think that method of enforcing it among your own friend group is really good advice. That most of Gen Z is not willing to take because they're so non-confrontational. And they probably wouldn't end up in a situation where they are having a real-life conversation to begin with. Another 20-year-old student at Samford University in Alabama named Sarah Elizabeth Ellison makes efforts to rein in her social media use when she feels it's getting out of hand. She says, I can take authority and say, you know what, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok is affecting me. I got to delete it for a week or two. She also avoids bed rotting, a wallowing form of self-care beloved by Zoomers in favor of healthier pursuits. Instead, I'm going to go take a walk outside. I'm going to read a book. I think sometimes you need to escape whatever your situation is, and reading is the greatest resource. She also says, journaling has proved helpful to deal with anxiety. Just getting my thoughts out has always brought a boost to my serotonin. I try to get down 5 things I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Actually, like what I found is like thoughts tend to make a whole lot more sense to me in my head than when I actually try to verbalize them or write them down. I can actually start to crystallize why an idea I have is really stupid if I actually just try writing it down and putting it to paper. There's a 20 there.
From Vincent De Vecchis. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I'm kind of hoping liberal women keep not having kids and keep doing stuff like bathwater tubs, because trad cons will outpopulate them and we will all be happier. I mean, is Sydney Sweeney really the example of that liberal woman who is deferring marriage and family? I think that she probably could have been married by now if she wanted to stay with her fiance. Also, when I think of that, Tim likes to mention that like the left is a death cult and they're not having kids. But the problem is that they recruit, they don't produce. They're going to recruit your kids. They're not going to produce their own. We have another 20 from Tuxedo Mask. Anytime I get depressed, I just genuflect at my Mary Morgan shrine and feel immediately redeemed. Wait, what does genuflect mean? It's what you do in a chapel when you kneel down and cross yourself. Okay, so he goes to a shrine. I could not disavow that more. Yeah. But since you brought up religion, that was another thing that happy Zoomers credited for their happiness. They say this is a major reason for their contentment. Something that has always influenced me growing up with a dad that's a pastor. My faith has ebbed and flowed and changed a lot as I've grown up, but it's always been consistently there for me to fall back on. And then Kevin Alexander says his Christian faith has helped him frame his disability in a positive manner. The fact that I'm still here 28 years later makes me believe that God has me here for a reason. I have physical limitations, but he spared my ability to speak, to think, to write effectively. The idea that I'm here for a purpose keeps me from falling into generational nihilism. I think we have another 20 from No Control. The left reproduces like vampires. By what? Sucking the fun out of everything? Must be. I hear that Gen Z is nihilistic a lot. Do you think millennials don't have the same quality? It was you that kind of impressed upon me that there was a level of nihilism in Gen Z. That was never my... I came to agree with you, but it wasn't something I ever thought of in that way until you kind of put it into words, but I would agree with you. Are millennials nihilistic? I think millennials, that depends who you ask. Are you talking on the whole, or are you talking like... If we're just making generalizations, yeah. I don't know. Again, my experience goes back to politicism and
the millennials of the Obama era are definitely probably angry and annoyed. I don't know if nihilistic is the word for it, but they're definitely angry and protesting and all of that stuff. But again, that's me looking at it through a political lens. All my friends that aren't heavily political all seem perfectly fine living their lives with families or doing whatever it is, focusing on their career. And again, that's not the most in-depth analysis because it's not like it's like we're talking every day. But from what I glean from looking at their lives online, they seem to be living perfectly happy lives. They don't seem to be bogged down by the ills of the world. Now, the ones who are heavily inclined to talk about that stuff definitely don't seem as happy to me, but that's just my interpretation.
It's not that I disagree that Gen Z is nihilistic. I definitely agree with that, but I do think Gen Z gets scapegoated for cultural nihilism when they're certainly not the ones who engendered that trend in the first place. And you see nihilism in every generation living today, at least in the West. It's just expressed differently.
At the very least, you could say that the heavy feel of nihilism amongst Gen Z would be acquired by the millennials who told them that the earth is going to be underwater in the next 10 years and that the climate is going to destroy everything. You shouldn't have kids. You shouldn't be happy. You should just glom on to some cause and fight for it. Otherwise, you'll be miserable. And like with that world that they've created, why wouldn't they be nihilistic?
I think you're politicizing it too much.
Okay.
Actually, that was all like stuff on the surface level, but if you just peer beneath it, it is, I think, stemming from being raised without any spiritual meaning. And
Okay.
I think if you look at their parents, they are nihilistic as well. If you're making generalizations about baby boomers, their selfishness and also the fact that they were the divorce boom generation says that they are self-seeking, that they worship at the altar of the self. And Gen Z gets scapegoated for that, but it's the same value system their parents raised them to have.
Gen Z gets scapegoated as the generation of self.
Yeah.
I mean, what's worse, an idea of somebody like living for themselves or obsessively living to be seen as good for living for other people, right? So is that like millennials have activist inclinations where the desire is to help others, but really it's just so that you look like a good person, which is, again, just seeking for self?
Yeah. We have another 20 from Chubbs82. I agree. Let's bring back public shame for men who don't fulfill their duties to their family, their country, and God. Too many. I was going to join men after 9/11 and absent dads who lecture me on Christianity. I don't know what
That felt like a non sequitur at the end.
what that was at the end that had anything to do with the prior statement. But I don't know.
Wait, were you like a girl and you were going to become a man after 9/11?
Then I saw that they linked to this study from 2023, and people were talking about this last month as well, the rise in religious practice and church attendance among Gen Z. This says about 1/3 of 18 to 25-year-olds say they believe in the existence of God or a higher power. That is up from about 1/4 of 18 to 25-year-olds in 2021. That's pretty dramatic for such a short period of time.
Yep.
And a lot of that is community, sure, and it doesn't necessarily count as an argument for believing in God or a higher power, but the sociological utility of religion is undeniable. I just think that there are too many influences boiling it down to just the social utility.
Okay. Yeah.
Jordan Peterson has been getting called out for this on the timeline for the past few days because of his Jubilee debate, where he was, it was a Christian debating 25 atheists, and they kind of pinned him on this, and they were like, are you a Christian? He wouldn't really commit one way or the other to identifying as such, and we were like, why are you even in the room? Why are you representing Christians in that room?
He's like, they called me and asked me to join. I do want to point out,
he has made a whole brand of talking about religion, and he emphasizes the social utility of religion, which is true, but that I think is too reductive. And if it's just a false narrative that people tell themselves to feel better about the world and about their finitude, then it is worthless.
I also want to point out that Shane Cashman said that Jordan Peterson looks like the Riddler when it's, of course, very, very wrong. He does look like Two-Face, however, in that suit.
That's something I will always defend. Jordan Peterson's custom suits look really cool. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says.
I'm saying, like, imagine you're going out and you're having this intellectual debate, and the guy's like, I can't take you seriously right now.
Another Zoomer said, I take time for myself, but so much of my day is to help others, to take care of my family, to take care of my baby. I think the #1 problem in my generation is a lack of meaning. People my age, their life is about them and serving themselves and always seeking out more pleasure. She says getting married early at age 25 and starting a family soon after has given her more purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, you can observe the same self-seeking and self-serving trends in any generation alive today in this country.
Yep.
It's just expressed differently.
And you think that that Gen Z has, in particular, gotten a bad rap as something that's actually indicative of every generation?
They're hyper visible because they post everything online. That's why.
I mean, maybe that's why. Is like a lot of it is stuff that other generations have felt, and Gen Z is just taking the time to actually put to words in their videos on TikTok.
But at least they're asking questions. Like, I respect that. I think that Gen Z is at least faith curious.
I mean, do you think that that's something that will change over time? Like, I wonder how much of it is like, what I've seen from a lot of people who end up finding religion later in life is like they've explored all areas of something that they care about, whether it's their profession or something that they, some hobby of theirs that causes them to think a lot. And they get to the end of the line of that thought process and then start considering more things. Maybe the idea is like when you're overloaded with information from the get-go now at a younger age, as Gen Z is you just start getting to that more esoteric questioning earlier in life. In conjunction with the fact that life can feel so hopeless, and one of the most natural things for someone to do is to start considering that there's something greater than you because it offers more hope than the nihilistic atheist approach of just saying, this is it, whatever.
Yeah, I think also the material scarcity that surrounds Gen Z has left them with fewer distractions or fewer consolations.
I mean, their phone is the ultimate distraction and the ultimate consolation now in many ways. Like, that is the ultimate distraction in a way that so many things kind of combine to distract your life.
Well, I mean, that they rightly point out a lot of material abundance that previous generations enjoyed is now locked out of their access. So if you can't find some semblance of meaning in material comforts that you cannot afford, what options do you have left?
Suppose we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if Gen will it be Gen Beta, Gen Alpha, and Gen Beta.
And Gen Beta.
They really can't call it Gen Beta.
Gen based.
My guess is that by the time that they come to the age to have phones, that word just won't have any social meaning anymore.
They won't have phones.
It'll be Neuralink.
Brain chips.
Yeah. All right, let's do some super chats.
Yurishima Otaru said, "Don't judge a chemical by its name."
Really?
I think he's referring to the titanium dioxide being in Skittles.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what titanium dioxide is.
I just figured anything that ends in oxide shouldn't be in food, but what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably eat a Skittle with titanium dioxide and feel fine.
Yes.
That's all the science I need. Kyle Dixon said, useless fact I know, wizard is a derogatory term. Wiz is German for wise, and ard suffix is universally negative, like drunkard or coward. Loose translation is wise coward. I had no idea. Steward? Yeah, I guess the word steward doesn't have negative connotations. You just debunked him with facts and logic.
Debunked!
Facts and logic.
JTR11 said the next product from Dr. Squatch, a washcloth woven from her hair. Where will society fall to next?
You're not completely wrong. I can completely buy that happening.
We have another 20 from Vincent DeVekis. Having the benefits of having rights and privilege in a safe, free society came to be from men and women having obligations and duties in order to have it. This generation are in a time of no accountability.
I would need more information on that. What do you mean by that?
I think they
do those duties no longer exist in society? Like what duties and obligations are you talking about? Are you talking about like the duty or the obligation to have a family, to carry on your lineage, to work hard and take care of those you love? Because that's still there. It's just something people ignore now more readily.
Right.
To their own detriment and to the detriment of society.
Right. Weary Traveler said, what would a PCC soap from Dr. Squatch smell like? Popcorn? I don't know.
No.
Packing peanuts?
I want
packing
there
peanuts.
You go.
There it is.
That's it.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
Because of the imagery that you use, I couldn't help but think of like cotton candy. There's a lot of pink.
I like that idea.
There you go.
Weary Traveler, or no, TX Goliath said, I'ma trade these soaps for Pokemon card boxes.
There you go.
Your only valid excuse to buy the Sydney Sweeney Bathwater soap is to resell it to simps and make money off of them. Gayton J said she should sell nice summer dresses.
Sydney Sweeney should.
Should she do a brand deal with Evie magazine to sell the Milkmaid dress?
Yeah.
That would have done numbers.
She could have done that. All right, let's do one more.
Beef Nugget said, just pathetic. Where do I get this soap? You already know where to get it.
It's like asking for a friend. All
It's
right.
for your own good. Why don't you just not do
Let's hold off on the rest. It's time to make fun of MGK.
Yeah, one of my favorite pastimes, making fun of Machine Gun Kelly. MGK just put out a new single called Cliché, and even his own fans are mercilessly mocking the song and him. And I agree with them. I think that he deserves to be cyberbullied for this. Thank you.
Let's start that
Crisis
over.
Party number 3.
Yes. Let's start that over, though. Hold on. All right, hold on.
Phil is not happy.
It's got to change.
Let's start that over again.
Maybe once the money guns stop.
Yes. Hold, please.
I'm just gonna stare at it threateningly.
It's gonna eventually stop, I promise. No?
Come on.
There
Okay. So Machine Gun Kelly just put out a new single called Cliché, and all of his fans are clowning on him for this song because, you guessed it, it's cliche.
But it's also bad.
And it's also objectively bad. He is getting mercilessly mocked. The song is getting mocked. I agree with the people who are bullying him. I think that he deserves to be mocked for this. But let's just play the clip of the song that he posted for the promo in his music video.
I'll give you oxygen to breathe me in, but I'll say sorry in advance. My head's a mess. It's like that every day, and I'll try my best. It sounds cliche, but tell me, would you wait for me? Baby, I'm a rolling stone. I got a lot of right in me, but I don't want to say this wrong. Tell me, would you stay with me? Maybe we can make this home. You should run away with me, even if you're better off alone.
Okay.
So, if you're listening rather than watching, he is in this music video at a car wash dancing with a mop, and people are saying it's giving NSYNC vibes. He also has a scantily clad video girl just kind of there. I don't know what she's really doing.
Just something to look at for him to sing at.
Yep, that's just the character that he's singing at, I guess. Even though the song is about Megan Fox. He confirmed that in an interview, and he said that this was something he wrote after a couples therapy session with Megan Fox, whom he's no longer with.
In my head canon, he at least extended the offer for her to be in the video, and she's like, no.
She wasn't interested. Well, she's busy raising their baby.
Yeah.
Okay? He so rudely ended their relationship.
He broke up with her?
Well, I mean, I think that he's to blame for their breakup because he cheated on her.
Oh, okay. Well, that's yeah. Okay.
They're not currently together. They split up for good in December 2024, shortly after announcing Megan Fox's pregnancy. Despite their breakup, they're committed to co-parenting their daughter, who was born in March 2025, and MGK has been staying at Megan Fox's house part-time to spend time with their baby.
How are you cheating on Megan Fox?
Everyone said the same thing. But I truly think that it boosted his ego to another planet, and he just thought he could get away with anything, and he's invincible.
Maybe.
It's happened time and time again. And this song is clearly a sign that he is not able to move on with his life, with being an aging rock star.
Exactly what artists do? They do something stupid in life, and then they write music about it as a form of, expression.
As a cope.
I don't know if it's a cope,
Perhaps.
but perhaps it's a cope. I do think, however, that if anybody was to like make fun of him to his face, and they're like, "This song is stupid," he's gonna be like, "Have you had sex with Megan Fox?"
Did you hit?
Keep walking.
Did you hit though? So, MGK is just a straight man, but this headline just made me laugh. Machine Gun Kelly responds to homophobic backlash over his new pop single Cliche.
I'm picturing him like reading this headline online. He's like, "What do they mean by that?"
So let's show the video of him clapping back at the haters because he can't handle any criticism.
All right, I don't really ever spotlight hate because the love is just outweighs it, but sometimes you gotta laugh. Ginger Beard Gage, what is this garbage? The poster is even gayer, spelled Gheyer.
The fake nails are just kind of...
Well, yeah, he has painted nails.
Rough.
Kids
No
in elementary school
surprise.
just enjoying a song. They're turning the kids gay, spelled Ghey. Just tell me you're insecure and tell me you found your girlfriend watching this music video without telling me. Gage, it's a pop song, man. What is this? It's a pop song, man.
Or you would spell it P-H-O-P.
Well, type in what you guess Gage looks like.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Gage, this you? This
No,
you?
no,
This you?
there's a...
This shit whack, man. I just found this shit fun, man. I don't understand. It's like party no good, man.
You're mad. You're mad. That song is catchy.
Okay.
Just making the video, he lost. Just
If
by
you're-
making the clapback video, he loses.
You're recording yourself pointing at the camera saying, "You're mad, you're mad, you're mad."
He lost.
MGK.
Yeah.
You are mad. If the song in the first place wasn't a cope, that response to the backlash certainly was a cope. We have another 20 from Vincent DeVecchis. Men are predominantly the enforcement arm of a society. It's how we keep sage. Women need to be mothers more than boss bebs. Not babes, bebs, which they are not. The West is declining in population. Casual sex is high. Family unit declining. I don't think you have any pushback from this panel on any of those points.
MGK is pissed at that.
MGK is contributing to that, actually. But here were some of the homophobic comments. MGK has dedicated his new song for Pride Month and has openly come out as a gay man by releasing one of the most gay songs and videos to match. Another one said, "Life comes at you pretty fast. 1 minute you're having rap battles with Eminem and banging Megan Fox. The next minute you're gay." And the other forms of backlash to the song was basically just saying this isn't really in line with the genre MGK was doing of like pop punk and being alternative. And
So
I guess the point of it is that it's ironically a pop song.
Okay.
I don't know. Phil, what do you think of someone just making a song for irony's sake alone?
So if you're in on the joke, it's fine, right? Like if the point of this was to make the song that he thought was funny as well, and he was like lampooning that style, totally fine. I think that he probably was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a pop song," because he styles himself as a pop star now. He doesn't want to be just a rapper or just a, pop punk guy or whatever. He wants to be a pop star. He's doing the Kids' Choice stuff. He's living
really?
the. Well, if I understand correctly,
Oh,
so
gosh.
maybe I could be wrong with that. It's just I I thought that I recalled seeing him on that kind of stuff. But he does do he's doing as many red carpets as he can do. He's kind of like looking to live that life. So I think that he's taking this seriously. I personally think it's fine if you want to lampoon that stuff. If he made this, if he released this song and was in on the joke, and in the video clearly was in on the joke, it would have gone over much better. But I think he was serious about it and thinking, I'll be right up there with Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
like, this is my thing now. I think he put it out totally in earnest, and then when people didn't like it, he overreacted and was like, well, I'm going to dunk on you right back.
Yep.
And it just didn't land.
Should have just released the song, said I like it, and moved on.
Right. Yeah. Some of the criticisms said MGK's music isn't even bad. It's just the most sterile, generic, safe, commercialized version of alternative stereotypes, gift wrapped so Target can play it in their stores. It's just so boring.
That was all the comments that I saw were like, it's kind of like its own version of coworker music, where it's big box store music.
Another one said, I think MGK could make good music, but he just tries too hard to fit into certain genres, and it sounds corny every single time. I listened to some of his rap music, and people still refer to him in headlines as like rapper MGK. He doesn't do that anymore, but when he was a rapper, it really wasn't good.
No, he wasn't a great rapper.
He wasn't a great rapper. So, I mean, he did something good for his career by pivoting into the pop punk genre.
I mean, is he just kind of taking the Travis Barker mainstream approach when he got with What's Her Name and then became more mainstream?
Yeah.
Staying with Megan Fox would have been better for his career and his publicity, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, I think that's probably true, and I think it was a very, very bad idea to get busted cheating on her. It was a very bad idea to cheat on her. It was an even worse idea to get busted.
Yeah. Even just if in a self-interested way.
Yes.
See all those,
for him.
the what's her name, TheWizardLiz fans like, see,
no man can be trusted.
If Megan Fox can get cheated on,
she's another like manifesting, like
Yeah.
woo-woo universe, whatever. She's that type of person too. So she probably thought the stars aligned, and that's why they said, "Oh, we're twin flames."
She should start a YouTube channel with TheWizardLiz, and they can make manifest videos.
They talk about healing their inner child.
Yeah,
you know?
they can do that, and they can
writing pretentious poetry,
become witches eventually. Didn't they? Yeah,
they are witches,
and then they'll sell spells to girls online, like that video we did yesterday.
They're just mainstream pop culture witches. That's all they are.
There you go.
And then MGK posted a comment that was glazing him, saying, "This man is a genius. He made a song called Cliché, where the lyrics are cliché, the dancing is cliché, the video is cliché, the rhythm is cliché, the scenarios are cliché, everything. That's so good." And then he was like, I agree with that comment. Screenshot, post, everyone is going to agree. They didn't. And I think he's just way overcompensating at this point.
Well, I mean, maybe because he felt out of his element doing a genre that he's not comfortable with, so he's overcompensating.
And then because people were dunking on MGK, I think every time that happens, this clip resurfaces from 2011. Where it's also noted he was signed to Diddy's record label at the time.
Here we go.
I said that so many times. I hope that I'm snagging that. Don't let me move to LA. Oof. I'm finding her.
You counting down the days until she's 18?
I'm not waiting until she's 18. I'll go now. I'm 23, dog. Like, I'm not like a creepy age. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm 23, bro. She's 17 and she's like a celebrity. Like, there is no limits right there. Robert Plant, who is one of the greatest lead singers ever. For all y'all don't know, he sung for Led Zeppelin, dated a girl that was 14. Axl Rose, who was one of the biggest badasses ever, dated a girl.
What is this music?
That was 16 and wrote a song on his first album about the girl that was 16.
Like, this should be like ominous, scary music playing in the background.
What is this dentist office?
Not this dentist
waiting
office. Waiting room music.
I don't care. Say what you want, man. If Kendall Jenner is in your bedroom naked and you're 50, you're going. I was just sexting about a golden shower. That was crazy. That's always like, But it's like if you have the right person with the right connection, like that's a crazy little experience. That was Kendall.
A brain the size of a grain of rice. Truly.
When was that video made?
That was back in 2011 that he said those things, and yeah, was signed to Diddy's record label. I assume he must have been invited to at least one freak off.
This says 2013. So
in the tweet I'm seeing
the
says
oh, okay,
2011.
Yeah, it was also being
no,
it
he
says
was signed in 2011. The video was in 2013.
2013,
Okay. Yeah. Still,
don't worry. That's bad no matter what year it was released
still bad.
in.
He's like, you know what? Elvis married a 14-year-old girl, so it's fine.
like somebody's
bro.
gonna come out and they're gonna be like, he said this stuff in 2013. They're like, bro,
Can
those
we
comments
just-
are still bad no matter what year it was.
Can we chill with that? Whatever happened to this whole, wigger persona that he had going on back then? Because I just listened to a new interview and he doesn't have this accent. I guess when he was a rapper, he just had that persona that he put on to fit in. When when Diddy claps those cheeks like a machine gun. Oh, no, no, no.
No.
Okay.
He took a gamble.
All
It
right.
didn't work out for him.
Let's go to Super Chats.
DJ Ango said Dr. Squatch should sell this at anime conventions. No more nerds with BO. Well, they wouldn't be interested in the Sydney Sweeney soap at an anime convention because she's a real woman.
Look, you guys are misunderstanding how this is going to go terribly wrong. It's going to be a boatload of dudes with BO with breath that smells like soap.
Yeah, there were some comments saying, is it edible?
Yeah. It's not going
They
to do
wanna eat
anything
the
for the
soap.
BO, and it's not going to actually do anything for the bad breath. It's going to be bad breath that kind of smells like soap.
Yeah, and they're just foaming at the mouth.
Yes,
because
it's going to be gross.
I did text Olivia. RFK says I shouldn't shower anymore. She responded.
Oh, you were serious?
Yes.
Okay.
She responded, didn't a worm eat half his brain?
Wait, is that true?
RFK?
Yeah.
Did he have a worm in his brain?
RFK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a brain worm, yeah.
Does he still?
He doesn't currently, no.
And it ate half his brain?
It didn't actually eat half of his brain.
Oh
I don't
my
know about
gosh.
I don't know how much of his brain it ate, but he did have a brain worm. That's true.
Okay. Yeah, you learn new things every day. Adam said Mary...
Sometimes contrary to what you actually want.
Mary has to take one for the team and review it. I am under no circumstances purchasing the Sydney Sweeney soap. I'm just not doing it.
Speaking of reviews, I bought tickets so far in advance for Ballerina that I forgot it's next week and not this week.
Not this week, yeah.
I didn't catch it until somebody asked me, like, oh, does that come out this week? And I'm like, I was wrong.
Did you get the best seats in the house?
I did. Well, the back corner so that I can take my notes and not go deaf because it'll be facing my bad ear. But
Was the theater not sold yet?
There were some tickets sold.
There were some?
There was some tickets. I mean, I bought it so far in advance that that's not really a good gauge of whether it's going to do well.
No Control said that church is in a strip mall by an old Walmart. Likely. Hiroshima Otaru said they are Unitarian, Phil. Worse than Episcopalian.
What's the difference between the two?
I don't know.
Mary?
I forget what the Unitarians believe, but they're definitely not what I would consider an actual Christian denomination.
Okay.
If we have any Unitarians in the chat, let us know. Shane H. Wilder said, a coworker said they started feeling great after manifesting. I was like, is it that or the SSRIs you pop like candy? I nearly went full Shia LaBeouf. Shut the F up, say Christ is Lord. I mean, maybe you should have at this point. Just lose your chill.
I mean, like, if they're taking the SSRIs like candy, that's a problem because it's not something you're supposed to take as needed. You're supposed to take it like every day at the same time. You shouldn't be like, oh, I feel crappy, and then take a Prozac. That's not how that works.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Andemus said they both have a fundamental problem of impulse control. Both of TheWizardLiz and her husband, I'm guessing. Yeah, I would agree with that. For him, it was just in a moment. For her, it was over the course of like 7 months, where she just continually went with whatever felt best in the moment and not thought about the future. Corey Anderson said the new Falling in Reverse song is amazing. Phil, when are you and Ronnie going to collaborate? Things are getting hairy about Wait, what? Harry Baravis? Duka Stan? What? Do you know what that means, Brett?
Can you read it?
Brett, what are you laughing about?
It's just funny.
Is that a reference?
Durkistan was South Park, right?
It says
No, Durkistan was Team America.
Well, I mean, same guys. Same guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you going to collaborate with Falling in Reverse? I think that would be great.
Nothing planned.
Somebody made a great argument when I posted the clip from Transformers of that being when culture peaked, when Optimus Prime is giving the speech and Linkin Park's music hits. Somebody said actually Team America World Police was when America peaked. I'm like, you could be right. You could be right. I like that argument better than Neo in the Matrix.
Carl Walker says, by favorite historical firearm, I meant what gun from the past do you like the most? Mine would have to be the MG42.
Hitler's buzzsaw. You know, honestly, the Germans did have some really great rifles. The Sturmgewehr's cool. So, actually, I'd probably go with the BAR, though, the Browning Assault Rifle.
Weary Traveler said, I have a fake laptop job, so yes, I am winning.
So I have a question.
You have many questions.
Weary Traveler. And none of them have anything to do with the USS Liberty. What does your fake laptop job entail? Do you have to, is it just Zoom meetings, just endless Zoom meetings? Are you filling out like Microsoft Excel spreadsheets? Do you do nothing? Do they just give you a laptop and that's the job?
How many emails do you send per day?
On an average, like sending an email is a tumultuous experience for me. I hate sending emails. So
condolences.
I would like to know, like, what does your laptop job entail? Be specific
honest
and detailed.
Well, without doxing yourself, I guess you'd lose your job if you called it fake. TN Fame said the WikiFeet rating is 4.7.
The what?
I assume he means my WikiFeet rating. 4.7 out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 5. That's an important distinction there.
Yeah, I don't know how this stuff works.
This feels like the type of thing
I don't regularly peruse WikiFeet.
There is a skit to be made about somebody who works really hard not to get on something like that, but then they get on there and they get mad at the rating. They're like, like
if I'm gonna have a WikiFeet, it better be rated
high. Right?
You know, I have a lot of haters, so maybe they're just gonna
downvote. She's been review bombed on WikiFeet.
Yeah. No Control said all lanes are for crime. Phil, what say you?
I think that I wouldn't complain about people that behave in such a manner. So, you know.
Okay. Adam said, what are the chances of you meeting someone you might know on the other side of the world?
Yeah, what are the chances that you're going to risk not running into them if you buy the ticket?
I'm saying my pet theory about this is that he planned to be in Greece at the same time that she was in Greece and just say like, hey, I didn't know you were in Greece. It's like, we should meet up. Well, I think that's what he was planning on doing.
Then my hope is that he went on an actual trip and he didn't just go home. I hope he actually went to Mykonos afterwards and he didn't just say, oh, it worked, and then went home.
Well, the rest of the story is that she invited him to just come along with her and her friend where they were going, and he just went ahead with them.
Well, then I hope he canceled his real trip to Mykonos.
I said, you know, if I were the female friend, and you just invited this rando that you met at the airport bar, I would be pissed. You just ruined our girls' trip for Dick.
And you have no self-preservation instincts.
Yeah. He could be, you have no idea who this guy is. You just know him from Instagram. I'd be out of there so quick.
I was rewatching old episodes of NCIS LA the other night, and there's a scene where Callan, like, it's like his first day on this job he's working undercover on, and he gets this woman to just like invite her back to her house. I'm like, does this woman not want to live? Like,
people do this.
Even in 2009, who was doing that?
We have a 20 from Weary Traveler. I fill out forms for claim denials and attend 2 Zoom meetings twice a week. Occasionally, I assist with training other employees, but that is only once a year usually. You fill out forms for claim denials.
Hallelujah.
Wow.
It's like the job to end all jobs. Do you do this right before you log in? Do you go?
My first internship, this is after I dropped out of college.
Wait, your first internship after you dropped out of college? So it was like just a regular job intern?
Well, I got it through my college without telling that I was dropping out.
Okay.
So if I told them that before, they probably wouldn't have given it to me. I was like, I don't even know how to explain it myself. Maybe it was a fake laptop job. But I was on the phone with people making pandemic unemployment claims. So they were all like pissed off people who got fired, who were mad at me because they were fired.
Yeah.
And
see, I don't want the phone
out,
job. That's a phone job. I want one where it's just
no
online.
talking.
I will get over my fear of emails.
No dealing with people. I would have loved it if it didn't require the phone calls. That sucked. Adam said, what are the chances? Oh, no, I already read that one. Omega Red Fan said, why do rich people have small sinks? They don't need to get their hands as dirty. Home Remodeling Network said that. They have small sinks. I feel like they have big sinks.
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like rich people have big sinks.
I feel like if I were to be like, okay, I'm gonna design my own house or redo my kitchen, I would want a big sink.
Yeah, but you work with your hands, and if it's a rich guy who doesn't work with his hands, he sees no value in a bigger sink.
Maybe.
I guess. Urashima Otaru said, like all UN initiatives, the WH report is total BS. Never trust any information from the UN, ever. I didn't know it was commissioned by the UN.
There was a fantastic JB spooky review of the X-Files that I watched the other day where the UN comes up. He goes, the UN, who is totally not evil.
Shane H. Wilder said, I don't even touch the phone in the morning before praying and going for a jog. Life ain't perfect, but centering yourself on something greater helps.
That's a very good plan.
Best advice is probably just get an analog alarm clock.
Yep. And keep the alarm clock across the room.
Get
so
one
you have
that
to get up
one of
to
those that
turn it
jumps
off.
around the room, maybe.
I did want to get the one that just like turns your bed into like seismic activity and it becomes like you're in an earthquake.
That would just make me mad.
I mean, that seems like something somebody would do as like a skit now online. It's like a guy who's married. He's like getting this like earthquake bed for me and my wife, and then filming like it just going crazy at like 6 a.m. Have you ever seen the one where the guy he removes the bed and he puts like a kiddie pool and puts covers over it, and the woman very clearly knows what's going on, so it's very clearly staged, but. We live in a world now where somebody wants to believe that guy took their bed out of their room, filled a kiddie pool that's square, and put sheets over it, and then she like falls into the pool.
I thought prank channels died like years ago.
See, deep in my heart, I want to believe it, and that's what they prey on. They prey on your desire to believe.
I don't want to believe it. That sounds awful.
I want to believe that the prank is real.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Is that number 4? That is Ian's voice, right?
That is Ian's voice.
Saying party. Weary Traveler said, Jordan Peterson looks like Two-Face with that suit. Bro is literally a Batman villain.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
In a cool way or an uncool way?
Yeah. I mean,
I can't tell if people are saying that as an insult.
Look, I think Peterson's like generally he looked good. Like his clothes are very nice. You know,
I watched this in-depth video about how they did the computer imaging for the Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
The actual filmmaking process, it was actually really crazy how much work went into doing that.
Carl Walker said, Phil, Brett, and Mary, if you had infinite money to buy a single gun, what would you get? Well, I know nothing about guns, so I have no idea.
Phil, if you could buy a single gun, what would it be?
I would buy a transferable M249, which is a transferable means that you can actually buy it. It's a machine gun, and you can only buy machine guns that were manufactured before 1986 as a normal person, because in 1986 they added the Hughes Amendment to the Sportsman Protection Act, making the purchase of new machine guns illegal. So there are only a certain amount of machine guns that are ever going to be transferable, and an M249, they were made before 86. There are some that are available, but they're, I think it's probably around $100,000. something like that.
I would get the actual H&K P30L from the first John Wick movie.
There you go.
Not in 40.
That was a real gun he was using in the movie?
Mm-hmm. I'm saying, I don't know if like, so in the later movies they went to using airsoft, and I don't know if they used rubber guns, but they went to do airsoft. But in the original film, they could have used real guns, but I don't think so. But I would get the actual version chambered in 9mm, not in 40.
Good call.
Ethan Miller said, ban dihydrogen monoxide in food next.
Water, if I remember correctly. It's like the actual scientific name for water.
Got it.
They owned us big time because I said that your food shouldn't have oxide in it. I have been had.
Owned.
He will never recover from this.
Hiroshima Otaru said, Brett, you constantly ingest dihydrogen monoxide. Okay, now you just sound like nerds.
Oh, just for a little info, I just asked the internet if there were any M249s. There was one that recently sold for between 500,000 and 750,000. There's only I think there's 3 or 4 that are actually out there that are transferable. Not very many.
And says in the chat, BC says the Glock 26 in John Wick was rubber. Yeah. Okay. So that makes perfect sense to me. I've never been a fan of that because I feel like in most movies and television, you can tell that the actors know they're not firing a weapon. So if they're not shooting blanks, I feel like it makes a difference. And it happened, this conversation came up a lot after the Rust shooting about the switch to rubber non-guns and airsoft. I know that The Covenant, the movie from the 2021 movie, ended up going to all airsoft when it was originally supposed to not be airsoft. But in general, you can tell when there's no, they have to fake the recoil. A lot of times the worst of the worst, the slide doesn't even cycle. So I prefer they actually used the prop guns, but what can you do? So many shows have been on for so long that had, as I mentioned earlier, NCIS LA had 9 shootouts an episode and nobody ever got hurt. So if somebody's competent in doing their job, they can do that. But they might have switched to rubber guns later in the series, but I don't know if that's what happened.
Pop Culture Junkie said titanium dioxide is in a lot of cosmetics. Well, I don't know. If that's in my mascara, so be it. Rapscallion said, have you all had enough dihydrogen monoxide today? Stay hydrated, homies.
They are just owning us so bad right now.
I actually don't just drink plain water. I have tea and Gatorade instead. Short Bus Bully said the technical term for ARD is the pejorative agent suffix. Steward comes from stigweard, which means hall guard, not ard.
Damn.
How do you know so much
Owning
about
us
this?
with facts and logic.
Kyle Dixon said ward suffix is used to indicate direction or movement toward a specific place. Thank you so much for the English lesson and the chemistry lesson all in one.
Yep.
We're learning things. Shane H. Wilder said, come on, PCC soap would smell like ketchup chips, Taco Bell Diablo sauce, and matcha.
I would...
Actually, if it smelled like matcha, I would buy it.
Now I want some ketchup chips. I gave up candy and most chips recently, and now somebody's gonna ketchup chips are just gonna appear.
I have a life hack for you. Pringles aren't chips. They're not legally allowed to call them chips because they are made from potato paste that is squirted onto a bunch of on the conveyor belt, and then it's baked into that specific shape because it's paste.
Okay.
So they have to call them crisps.
Perfect, and that's what British people call them too, right?
Right.
Crisps. We have a Rumble rant from Deep South EDC. A good book over social media any day. People are surprised when they see me reading. They're like, books still exist?
I work out at the library. Gravel said GM. If it's morning for you, good morning. Rusty Shackelford said his eyes look dead. MGK's eyes look dead. I mean, I'd be dead inside too. Corey Anderson said, Mare Bear, I like the cut of your jib. God bless you. Thank you.
They like the cut of their jib.
Rusty Shackelford said, why is MGK showing a South Park video making fun of himself? Yeah, that's literally the South Park character that they were making fun of is the same person that we just saw in the interview from 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Zero self-awareness. Kyle Dixon said, coward is cow-ard because they follow the herd. Well, that part sounds made up. They're getting called cows. Corey Anderson said, from yesterday's show, my guess is Bezos is with Lauren because she gives him free use every day. For many men, that is the ideal situation.
Well, that's kind of gross.
I don't like calling sex use, and I don't think that he would have trouble finding any woman who would have sex with him on a daily basis.
It's like, hi, I'm Jeff Bezos. These are my requirements for a relationship. Do you agree? And the second they go, he's like, next.
There's definitely more to his relationship with Lauren Sanchez than just that.
What if he like if they're in different places, if he ships her to him with Amazon Prime?
Does she have like a life of her own anymore? Does she have like her own stuff going on, or does she just follow him around?
Probably just follows him around.
He should like that would get annoying.
He should show up to all events in an Amazon delivery truck. He should get out of the back of an Amazon delivery truck
in the
every
uniform
time and like take off the 2-day like the sticker that says 2-day shipping.
But it's the Chippendales version. It's all Velcro. JTR11 said, I can't believe those two celebrities broke up after using all that blood magic together. Who could have known?
I know, right?
Yeah, I thought that they were drinking each other's blood because, you know, they're twin flames and stuff.
Twin flames.
I said it's a red flag if a couple says that they're twin flames.
I don't even know what that means.
It's just another gay way to say soulmates, which I also don't believe in.
Okay.
Corey Anderson said, what is with this leaderboard thing?
I have no clue how
we
that
don't know.
works. And
actually earlier I said 2 people have the #1 crown, which makes the #1 crown meaningless.
I love this chat from Yaha says Lauren loves Bezos for his character, not his money. Thank you.
I mean, she was rich.
I'm here to
she
hope
wanted
that
for nothing.
I'm here to hope that that's true.
Yurishima Otaru said that soap is going to be used to make soup.
Gross.
Lovely. Rusty Shackelford said 1999 was pretty peak Matrix or not.
Yeah.
Do you all agree? You remember 1999.
I do.
I don't.
1999 was a great year. Lots of stuff came out in 1999, though of course I wouldn't be able to name it off the top of my head. I think The Bone Collector came out in 1999. I love that movie.
Weary Traveler said, oh, I already read that one. Brian Bledsoe said, I'm not anti-Maha and I'm no chemist, but not every ingredient that's difficult to say is bad. Isn't water dihydrogen monoxide? Yes. Yes, water is dihydrogen monoxide. Yes. We've covered this.
It feels like that would have been put onto an ironic shirt in 2007.
Yeah. We're past that point, I think, as a society. Weary Traveler said, if any of you show up in my daily file, you will be denied. What claims are you denying? I don't even know what claims you're talking about.
Like,
yeah.
This is why Luigi happened.
Shane H. Wilder said, okay, I'm tarded and designing the PCC soap ad. It will drop tomorrow. Do y'all want laser eyes?
I do.
I always do.
Yeah, if there's going to be an ad, I want laser eyes.
James Coderita said, at Phil, favorite Melodeath band, Minds in Flames.
What about Twin Flames? Is that a Melodeath band?
That is not. I do think In Flames is probably my favorite melodic death metal band. They're an extremely influential band in my music writing. So,
in the chat, Carl says, "Remember Enemy of the State? That movie was Dees." First of all, I haven't heard anybody say Dees in like 20 years.
We need to bring that back.
Holy crap! I heard somebody say tight the other day, and I was like,
tight?
Yeah, they're like, that's tight.
Oh, it had to have been Tate that said that.
So we need to bring back tight, and we need to bring back Dees. But I remember I was talking about how great Enemy of the State was not long ago because Gene Hackman had passed away, and I talked about it for like, I deigned to bring it up 2 days in a row, and so it's like, why won't Brett shut the fuck up about Enemy of the State? Like, well, sorry for liking shit.
It's a great movie.
It's fantastic. And quite poignant given the situation we're in these days.
Not just the situation, but like the way that society is overall.
Yeah.
Pop Culture Junkie said the richest people I ever knew, Publix grocery fortune, have had a huge mansion but had very small sinks.
Maybe it was on purpose.
They're hiding the big sink. They don't want you to know about the big sink.
You're not allowed in the part of the house.
You weren't allowed in the sink room.
With the full-size sink.
They have a whole room that's just a sink.
They just shower. They actually take baths in the sink in the upper part of the house.
Carl Walker said, glad I was able to catch you guys live. I usually listen the next day on Spotify while I work. Keep the content rolling. Thank you. We plan to. High Voltage 75 said, wow, I didn't know that about the Pringles. I have another little fun fact, actually. This is the alleged origin story of pink lemonade, okay? So there was this hot day at the circus, and all these people really wanted lemonade, but the guy ran out of water.
Okay.
So what the lemonade stand boss did is he went into one of the circus tents and he found the water where all the clowns had been wringing out their red tights when they were washing their red tights. And he took that water and made the lemonade with it, and it was pink lemonade. And nobody knew the wiser. Like, it was just clown sweat.
Gross.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Gordon Shumway said, Mary spitting facts about Pringles. There actually was a whole lawsuit about it. Potato chip companies took Pringles to court over the whole thing. I went down that rabbit hole while doom scrolling.
Well, all right then.
Don't say I never had a fun fact to share.
Everybody loves fun facts, so that's good.
Joe T said, Phil, that'd be dope if you guys did a cover of 7 Spanish Angels.
I don't even know 7 Spanish Angels.
Carl Walker said, Brett, you're falling behind. The party counter says 0.
What are you talking about? It clearly says 4.
Oh, you got way ahead of him. Are we close to a 5th?
I fixed the party count. I did not fix the meter.
We're a little over halfway to a 5th crisis party while we have about 10 minutes left in the show.
So you should feel free to tell us more about how water is actually dihydrogen monoxide.
Yeah, I agree.
Clown sweat, barf, by the way. Somebody says in the chat. That's disgusting.
Well, I honestly, maybe that's what made it taste so much better than regular lemonade. If you think about it, it just adds this extra
I hate this
tart flavor. I don't know why I'm saying what I'm saying. Do we have any Rumble rants?
No, we're caught up. So it says Brett leaked his email address, but it was my work email.
Oh, that's already public.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no.
My work email is on my Instagram.
Yeah.
People have used it for the wrong reasons.
Saltonio.
For anything good?
Saltonio says, I never want to eat Pringles again.
What? Just because it's potato paste? I hear things like that, and I'm just like, who cares? They're good. Yeah. Like, Pringles are good. I'm not going to, like, be like, ew, potato paste. Like, I'm not above eating potato paste. That's just mashed potatoes on a conveyor belt.
The other thing is, like, when it comes to Pringles, they're, like, out of pocket these days with the flavors.
What do you
like,
mean?
There's, like, 90 flavors now, and every time I see them, I'm like, I need to try that.
I really want to try the Selena Gomez Oreos. Did you hear about them?
Do they come with the tears of a billionaire? I like that she got skinny again and then got an Oreo.
Right? Hypocritical.
Very hypocritical.
But it was a limited edition horchata flavored Oreo. So it has a chocolate and cinnamon flavored wafer with a layer of sweetened condensed milk flavored cream and cinnamon sugar inclusions between them.
Okay.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, I should try that.
AI Shih Tzu said Phil should market Bathwater, but it's just diluted hops number 9 cologne made of CLP.
It's just diluted hops cologne. I think he's talking about just the regular hops gun oil.
Oh, okay.
Both CLP is clean and protectant lubricant. It's clean and lubricant protectant. That's their gun cleaning stuff.
High Voltage 75 said, any more fun facts, Mary? You've gotten 2 already. Greedy. If I have any more, I'll let you know. Weary Traveler said, mostly auto and fire, but I occasionally get a spicy health insurance claim. Those I actually do feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I wonder if Luigi was one of the claims you denied. And by the butterfly effect, you're guilty for Brian Thompson's death.
That is a depressing thing to think about. Speaking of all firearms things, Phil, you were causing a stir over the weekend with the training videos.
Oh, yeah. There were people that didn't like the video that I put out.
Causing a stir? Why?
Just because people didn't like the video. So I went to a class and I did when you go to a class, you do what the instructors say. And some of the stuff is a little on the weird side, or it's a little like people would consider unconventional. The point of it is to make sure that like you've always got a gun loaded. And so like there were times where like you would rack where you had a round in the chamber, and people were like, you threw a round out, and oh, you know, your magazine's in the wrong place, and blah blah blah. And so there were a lot of people that had something to say, which is perfectly fine with me because the thing's got like 4 million views now. And so nice. I'm going to make a boatload of money off of this video.
Yeah, you win.
I love gun tubers and arguing online goes hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my favorite things to do is watching long form firearms content just to go down to the comments and listen to everybody argue with one another.
Because everyone's got everyone has their preferred style. It's almost like dudes arguing which is better, whether it be jiu-jitsu or judo or wrestling or boxing. It's arguing over which is the best type of self-defense. You'll get a lot of this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So people were worked up because they didn't like there were people that don't like the company that I was training with. So
wait, why not?
Say they were triggered.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wait, they didn't like the specific company that you were training with?
Because they didn't like the stuff that I was doing.
Oh,
the stuff that I was doing is stuff that this company does. All when you get done with whatever the drill is, you're supposed to make sure that you got all of your hits correctly. If you did, then you're supposed to turn around and basically look around you, because the point is if you get into a gunfight, you're gonna get tunnel vision and you're gonna you're gonna be on all kinds of adrenaline and stuff. So the point of looking around is to make sure there's no one else that's trying to attack you, because 50% of the time if you're attacked, you're attacked by more than one person. So it's to get you to break out of that tunnel vision and make sure there's no one else around that's trying to attack you. And then you have to reload your gun, because if there is someone, you want to make sure that you have a full magazine. And anytime you change the magazine, you rack the slide, because you just got into a gunfight and you won't know if there's actually a bullet in the chamber or not. And people are like, you'll definitely know. No, you won't. Blah, blah. They're just arguing over, whether or not any of it's useful.
You also started a discussion, people talking about what position to carry in, because the guy who got shot carrying open carrying.
Yeah, so
that guy died, right?
Yeah, he someone stole his gun.
Yeah,
off of him. And I'm if you're gonna open carry where people can see it, you absolutely have to have what they call a retention holster, which is a holster that you can't just grab the gun and yank it out. That has to have some kind of locking mechanism.
And it's I had actually gotten to, given that I don't own firearms here in the state, but a level 3 retention holster actually takes a lot of practice to figure out how to remove the weapon from the holster.
Yeah, personally, and there's a lot of people that don't like the way I carry my gun. So I carry appendix, and that's literally there are people oh, the gun's pointing at your junk, man, blah, blah, blah. You're going to shoot your wiener off and yada, yada. And it's yes, you do have to train with it. And I wore the gun in the appendix position around the house unloaded and did a lot of dry fire stuff before I started carrying it loaded. But now I've carried the gun in appendix for 10 years. And yes, you do have to be cognizant, and you have to make sure you get your fingers off the trigger, and you have to make sure that your holster is clear. But it is the easiest place to conceal the gun, and it's also the place where you can get the gun out fastest. So,
Carl Walker said, Phil, what optic you run?
Depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about on my handguns, I run Trijicon RMRs.
We have a Rumble rant here from Swarley. Says, is there a book series you guys wish could be picked up for a streaming series or movie? Mine would be The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. The audiobooks are phenomenal. Allow me to introduce you to the crappy 2011 Dresden Files series starring Paul Blackthorne, which was nothing like the books, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. You just can't expect it to be anything like the novels. You can go watch that right now, but I do think you're right that would be a fantastic series to see get adapted to a longer form version of storytelling. The series was made at a time when serialized television was less common. It was mostly episodic. It wasn't that great, but I love, mid-tier episodic television, so I had a lot of fun with that. I would actually go with your suggestion. I think that they could make the Dresden Files into something great. That or make a crazy, drug-fueled version of Animorphs. That would be wild.
We've been asked this before, but I always said that I just don't want them to do it. I just said C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. But I actually don't want them to do that.
Just leave it alone.
Never mind. Andrew Canoy said, "Hey Phil, loved Scarlet. What's the story behind that song came to be?"
So Nick Nocturnal just hit me up and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do some songs?" And I was like, "Look, dude, I love the idea, but I know that it's going to be a real pain in the butt to get this stuff done. So why don't you send me over some stuff? We'll listen to it." And Scarlet was the first one that he sent over. We got together and banged out a few ideas vocally, and I got that one done pretty quickly. And then trying to get anything else, I couldn't actually get anything done. It was intended to actually be an EP at first, so there's going to be a few songs. But Scarlet was the only one that I could get done. So, but yeah, Nick's been a friend for a long time, and he was like, "Hey, you want to do some stuff? I'm doing an early aughts kind of metalcore kind of stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll be down." So
JTR11 said, "What % of appendix carrying men still have their dongs?"
I mean, probably 99.9.
Close to 100.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to be, cognizant, and you have to be careful. But if you follow the rules, you'll be fine. Unless you're talking about SIGs, and SIGs are only if and this is only if they're dropped in a certain way. Guns don't just go off.
Was that for just specifically the what was it, the 320?
320.
The 320. Look, my experience shooting was with SIGs and H&Ks, so I actually really, really enjoy. But I do laugh because every time I see one of those stories, I was like, it's an isolated incident, but there's only so many you can have. I do also remember the story they were talking about when they were trying to, the FBI was looking to change what weapons they were going to use as as their duty firearm, and they basically made the criteria so specific that it could either only be a Glock or the 320, and then they went with Glock.
They do that frequently. So bureaucracy does.
Carl Walker said, "You should try and get one of the guys from Unsub as a guest. That would be fire. As to the optic question, I meant on your AR."
I mean, the Unsub guys are great, but
doesn't really make sense on the show.
They do have
what is that?
the Unsubscribe podcast.
I feel like I've heard of that. I just don't know anything.
Bunch of
about
gun tuber guys.
Oh, okay.
They're funny dudes, good
IRL?
guys. I mean, I don't know where they. I think it'd be great if they came on IRL or if they came on.
You could do a Culture War episode if they wanted to do something about firearms. That'd be awesome.
I think we're all caught up now.
All right. Guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Phil, where can they find you?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. Our new stuff is available on YouTube, Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, Deezer. I feel like I'm missing one. Probably am. And also there's the song that I did with Nick Nocturnal that's available on Spotify, YouTube, and stuff. It's called Scarlet. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
Mary.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. I'm also going to be on Timcast IRL tonight, so tune in.
Perfect. Guys, you want to follow me? I'm on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dastovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which always helps. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.